If money were no object, what are men's ultimate adventure vacations? We're going to the edge of the earth.
The closer you are to death, the more alive you feel.
And the top of the world to find out. It's time to face your fears. Strap in, hold on, and get ready to go deep as we count down Uberguide's outrageous fantasies for men.
Shoot, shoot, shoot!
Our journey starts with a trip into the Rocky Mountains. Strap on your gear and saddle up for number 10 on our list, Fernie Fat Tire Adventures.
I like downhill because of the rush and the adrenaline, and the closer you are to death, the more alive you feel.
For our guests, we're trying to create really the BC experience of mountain biking.
For a week, the guys in British Columbia take you on some of the toughest mountain biking trails on the planet.
Everything out here is so much bigger and it's so much world-renowned for its stunts.
This stuff is narrow,
Just scary.
steep,
Very steep.
and downright dangerous.
Living on the edge.
Bail out now, and it's a long walk down the mountain with a bad case of road rash.
God made dirt and dirt don't hurt. God made rocks and rocks hurt lots.
We like to ride our bikes, and that's why we got into it.
The Fat Tire team takes pride in covering a lot of ground during their week-long adventure.
We can bring the big bikes along, you can bring all your gear along, and we'll ride some of the bigger trails.
They've made deals with ski hills up and down the Rockies. That means you can use lifts at least 3 different resorts,
We got a lot of runs in.
so you can save your energy for going downhill fast. If you do get tired of riding, there is another way down.
Haven't lost anybody this year yet, so.
Paragliders wait on the mountaintops
Oh, wow.
God made hills, hills kill.
You look scared.
to whisk worn-out adventurers back to the valley floor.
I was nervous at first because I never really ran off of a mountain before.
3 steps and you're up, and totally recommend doing it. It was totally amazing.
Paragliding was amazing. Super, super cool. So actually, you know what? Maybe today was my best day.
I was more scared of a free fall feeling, but once I saw the other 2 guys do it, it was nothing. Once the canopy got up in the air, I mean, it just took off, and it was like floating. It was really intense. Did a couple spirals where the G-forces kicked in and made my stomach a little queasy, but it was cool.
I think I've discovered a new addiction.
For giving us a bird's eye view and a bone-jarring ride to the edge of endurance,
It was really intense.
Fernie Fat Tire Adventures takes the number 10 spot
It was awesome.
on our list of outrageous fantasies for men. Our countdown continues with a trip to the major leagues. For our number 9 pick, we head to the sun and the fun of Florida for a chance to play some ball.
You'll be rotating around so that everybody gets to hit in the cages.
This is the Red Sox Fantasy Baseball Camp. 2 weeks of non-stop baseball for the ultimate fan turned feature player. Mike Owens has pulled on the jersey and picked up the bat for 11 seasons. He may be the biggest fan and fantasy camper yet.
About as close to a pro experience
as anybody could ever get without being a pro on the road for 164 games.
The games are played in the same field that hosts spring training for the Red Sox.
I mean, you're standing at the same plate that a lot of the Red Sox greats stood at as well, and that in itself is a treat, just to get down there and play in the big parks where they're, you know, immaculately groomed.
The camp is built around a 10-team tournament with some pretty serious ball coaches who are retired Red Sox major leaguers.
A guy like Yastrzemski, who was my batting coach one year, and we took batting practice with regularly.
This is my bodyguard.
Guys like Bobby Dorr, who's in the Hall of Fame, 80-some years old, but he'll come sit in the bench and he'll tell you stories about, you know, playing with Ruth or playing against Ruth.
Everything here is designed to give the players the sense that they are in the majors. No detail is overlooked.
We have physiotherapists, we have massage therapists, we have coaches. All our stuff is laundered every day. They pretty much do everything for you except shine your shoes.
The goal, play good ball, hit a few home runs, and hopefully win the Wintertime World Series. Mike's won it once.
We were playing in the big park. We had a great time. We got World Series rings for it that were sent to us. It was just the chance to know that you'd won the whole thing, because it's not easy winning the whole thing down there.
The camps are all about giving participants the star treatment. But that's only part of it. For many who come here, the highlight is simply meeting the retired stars. For Mike, it was meeting and getting some tips from the great Ted Williams.
The day that I met Ted Williams will be a day I'll remember forever. So it's a chance to see that. It's a chance to see what made them great, because they will have baseball talent, they'll have genetics in terms of size and muscles, but you'll also see that a lot of them are pretty bright guys.
Recently, Fantasy Camp has added an extra feature. After Florida training camp wraps up, players can sign up for one game at Fenway Park. It was a no-brainer for Mike.
It was something I thought I'd only see on television when I was a kid growing up.
After 11 seasons, Mike Owens is now one of the top picks at the Fantasy training camp.
Well, the best advice I ever got was from Kent Herbeck. And Kent was beside me on the plane on the way down there one year. And I said to him, gee, you know, you as a guy who spent umpteen years in the Major League, what's your best advice? And he says, swing hard in case you hit it.
It's the ultimate adventure vacation for hardcore baseball fans. Coming up, we're off to Vegas to gamble with our lives. And then, we get all tanked up in England as Uberguide's outrageous fantasies for men continues. We've gone downhill fast in the Rocky Mountains and suited up for the Boston Red Sox on the ultimate Uber search for adventure. Now we head to Las Vegas for the #8 pick in our countdown, Thrill Seekers Unlimited.
Here's the thing about Vegas. If you break even, you still won.
If the slots aren't enough to excite you, then you need to hook up with this man.
Hey, this is Rich Hopkins. Don't gamble with your money. Come hang out with me. Thrill Seekers Unlimited. Gamble with your life, baby.
The inventor of the ultimate adventure week.
Thrill Seekers Rich.
And if you call on him when you're in Las Vegas,
I dig it here.
He will custom build an adventure for you that will change your life.
We have about 30 to 40 different things.
Rich can tailor an adventure for anyone.
Bungee jumping, rock climbing, skydiving, paragliding. We kicked it up a notch and we started offering stuntman programs where you can actually come out and learn how to do stunts.
Yes! Imagine getting up in the morning and heading off to a class where Rich teaches you how to fall from a tall building.
Just go up.
The class starts out on a trampoline that will slowly work up to the high fall. With the height thing under your belt, it's time for some early morning bungee jumping.
Yeah! Here he goes.
Can we interest you in a little stunt driving?
That was great. That was fun.
After lunch, Rich takes his guests to do some indoor skydiving.
They call it body flying, which is basically, it's like a skydive, only instead of falling, you have the wind holding you up.
So this is the flight suit. Pretty much it's like a big pair of pajamas. And basically it's gonna fill you up like a balloon.
Adventurers climb into a vertical wind tunnel powered by an old DC-3 propeller. The giant prop pushes the air up, and the power can easily lift a person 30 feet into the air.
More power and more fun it is.
It's not easy mastering the technique, but with Rich, once you get the hang of it, it's the kind of thing you can do for hours.
Woo! Man, that's sweet.
Thanks, man.
I think that was sweet. Thank you.
It's tough to pack it all into 24 hours, so this ultimate adventure vacation runs for several days.
We usually end up doing 2 activities per day because that's pretty much about as much adrenaline as most people can handle.
But the hottest part of the adventure has to be the finale. After days of adrenaline-charged action, nothing gets your blood pumping in Vegas quite like a big win or a firework. Rich douses his clients in gas and sets them on fire. It's a spectacular way to end the week in Vegas.
Nice. Woo! That was fun.
They want to get out of the office, out of the cubicle, and come out and kind of live a little.
Thrill Seekers Unlimited is the name of the company. It's about doing things never thought possible.
We get letters and stuff all the time from people saying how it was a life-changing experience. Come on out and get your adrenaline rush with me. We're offering people an opportunity to come out of their shell.
For making a trip to Vegas more than memorable,
This is nuts, man.
Thrill Seekers Unlimited wins the 8th spot on our list.
It's an adventure. It's definitely an extreme adventure.
It's now time to head for jolly old England. London seems like a sophisticated world-class city built out of strife and struggle. They have had their fair share of battles here. War has been a big part of British history. So if you want to be a warrior, this isn't a bad place to start.
Right, welcome to tanksalot.co.uk. Ha ha ha.
Take a short trip from the city and into the countryside for a relaxing day of tank driving.
It's a big thing with a barrel on it.
This place is called Tanksalot. Number 7 on our list.
Left, loads of power, okay? Try and stick it.
A weekend boot camp that gets people all tanked up.
The objective today is to have a bit of fun, safely, and run the Volvo over. Simon Miles. Yep.
Nick runs the place with military precision.
Grab your helmet over there, white tee.
In his spare time, Nick collects tanks.
About 100 tanks or military vehicles in the Tanksalot collection at the moment.
And for a few dollars, he lets people drive them.
Safety. In my opinion, apart from the food, the most dangerous part of today is the getting in and the out of the vehicles.
Howard Plank has always loved playing with tanks and toy soldiers. So for Christmas,
I'm in the army now.
His girlfriend bought him a weekend here.
He just likes all the boy things. He's one of the lads.
Well, I suppose it's a safe way to go and do the stuff that people get paid to do and don't have to go off to war, do you?
The adventure is designed to teach people all about tanks and a little about military history. In all, there are 6 parts to the training. Each one is set up as a competition.
So 6 on there, well done. And that will give you the line of flight of the ball. It's the shout we give.
Students are taught how to load an old cannon and fire it at a target.
Have a care.
Yeah.
You're in.
All along the way, military trainers and historians help out.
Look down through here with your master eye.
The goal here is to get a taste of what it might have been like on the battlefields of old. All good fun. But most of these people have actually come to play with the big toys. There are troop carriers and tanks. This tank is the Centurion, built just after World War II. It was one of the top tanks in the Korean War. Maximum speed, 37 miles an hour. Not bad for a 52-ton chunk of metal.
Abuse it. Just give it everything, ram it where you like.
Everyone who drives gets one piece of advice.
If you drive it like you're trying to kill it, it's going to drive beautifully.
And the students take the advice seriously.
You get in that tank, and the sweat starts to run down your face. And that's not exertion, that's terror. And some of them are shaking. That's just pure adrenaline.
And it just feels like you're just trying to control it, and it's just wanting to go everywhere that you don't want it to go. I don't want to go round again.
They get out with the biggest grin on their face they've ever had in their life. It's like a disease, really.
So yeah, it's great fun.
Now, there's more at stake here than just a weekend in the countryside. Each exercise is actually a competition. The best student out of the group gets to crush a car.
Beautiful car. I'm going to run it over.
So it was a fantastic day. Yeah, and I think now I want to just have to go and get a tank, can I?
For letting boys play with big toys, Tanks-A-Lot takes the 7th spot in our countdown of outrageous men's fantasy adventures. Coming up, we dive deep to face our fear with Fijian sharks.
Shoot, shoot, shoot!
Then we dogfight with the top guns. Next on Uberguide. Our search for the ultimate fantasy vacations for men has taken us mountain biking on some of the wildest country on the planet and driving tanks in England.
Fantastic.
For our next adventure, we take you to one of the most beautiful places on the planet. This is where Brooke Shields made the movie The Blue Lagoon. Fiji is an archipelago of islands in the middle of the Pacific. It is paradise. But today, we are not hunting for bikini-clad Hollywood stars. We're after something just a little more dangerous. At number 6 on our list, shark diving in Fiji.
Many people think that the sharks is very dangerous.
The island of Benka off the west coast of Fiji is shark central. People here have learned to live with the sharks over thousands of years.
The people in my village, they worship sharks.
Uber adventurists come from around the world to test their courage here.
I hope I come face to face with some with a mouth this big.
The sharks are always ready and willing.
And right now, tiger sharks are waiting for us under the boat.
Guides lead divers under the water and down 40 feet to the feeding zone. The water here is crystal clear. Fish are everywhere. Within a few minutes, the sharks pick up the scent of what could be a free meal.
We dump about 600 to 1,000 kilos of food.
The trick here is to get the food out quickly and hope the sharks don't get lunch mixed up with a diver's leg.
Sometimes they would tap on Papa, our dive master, because they want the food, and the white tips and the black tips would come inches away, right there in front of your face, and it was unbelievable.
Some of these sharks are the size of cars and could easily tear a diver into pieces in minutes.
About 6.5 meters.
Their size is daunting, and it's truly a test of nerves.
Very exciting. You anticipate seeing it, and then it shows up, and it's so graceful, and it moves so slowly through the water that it really kind of sets you at ease. You know, you're just in awe of it. You don't have time to get nervous or really too excited. You just kind of sit back and try and realize what you're seeing, you know.
After 25 long minutes on the bottom, the food runs out, and it's time to head home before things get out of hand.
You're not in control of the situation, they are.
Today, more than a dozen sharks showed up. Everyone gets home safely. It has been another perfect day at Shark Central.
10 times better than any Disneyland ride, okay?
To see a tiger shark that close is just amazing.
When they do it, they are very happy. Yeah.
For going deep and making us face our fears, shark diving in Fiji makes number 6 on our list.
November 33 Mike, day down, I'll call your base. Should be following a flight of 2. They've been making a break south of the field.
Our next adventure promises to turn you into a Top Gun.
Back there for takeoff.
If you love the wild blue yonder and have that killer instinct,
Combat fighting, contact ground 1 clear, good day.
the airport at Fullerton, California is the place for you. Tucked away in a small hangar off to one side of the runway, we'll find our number 5 pick,
Do any sort of a gun attack
Air Combat. A flight school for wannabe fighter pilots.
Behind the wing line. It's like heaven. It's like old fighter pilots can come back and dogfight and share this with people who want to come in and have an adventure. It's as if they get to peek under the tent and see what happens in a fighter pilot ready room.
Watch him. Watch him.
The instructors are all retired Air Force, Navy, or Marine pilots.
In these airplanes, we want to perform at the edge of the envelope.
Before any new pilot is allowed to fly, there is ground school. Lessons on how best to stay alive in the air and in a dogfight.
And what's called the control zone is where you want to be.
With clear skies and a head full of new knowledge, it's time to strap in for what should be the adventure of a lifetime.
This is gonna be so fun, I can't wait.
All right. Feel pretty good about it?
Yeah, I do.
Here's some of the cameras.
I was getting a little nervous earlier, but now I'm just feeling it. I want to get up there and feel how this thing flies.
Clear.
In the air, the goal is to shoot down the other plane. But there are no bullets here, just a simulated sighting system. When you get a hit, smoke pours out from the opponent's airplane.
Good kill, knock it off.
It's pretty realistic.
Nice. Oh, that was. I'll be out your right side. 2-2.
It's the ultimate game of airborne laser tag. The flights last for about an hour. It is very intense flying.
I think everybody's amazed at what they accomplished. Some are overwhelmed, but they're amazed, and other people they're giddy. They can't believe they did what they did. And they don't even recognize they did it until they see their tape and see they were upside down in unusual attitudes, the horizons going around. They're kind of astonished at what they were able to accomplish. Yeah, we got game on this one. All right, let him go, let him go. Okay, come to get your nose down. Yeah, we're coming in, I think. There you go, keep it coming around to the left. Okay, smooth. Soft deck. Smooth it out, smooth it out. Out a baby. He's gonna hit the hard deck.
With the help of an experienced flight instructor, you're taught the techniques used to shoot down an airplane. These are right out of the military handbooks.
You are pulling G's, you are moving fast, there's a lot of relative motion, and a lot of fun.
Okay, get ready, right in here. Put the gun on him right now. Here we come. Tracking, gun. Shoot, shoot, shoot. Good smoke, knock it off. We'll be off to the, let's see, we'll be off on the right. Okay.
Air combat is all about realism, and sometimes...
Yeah, nice job. Yeah, Charles pulled that one out, that's for sure.
It gets just a little too real.
That was a tough one. Well, let's take it real easy again. You want me to fly a little bit? Huh? Okay. And we'll be ready for number 5, and
There's no pulling to the side of the road to catch your breath here.
There you go.
thank you.
That was awesome.
Awesome, dude. Good flying.
That was fun.
You were like spinning, dude.
For a taste of the real thing,
I recommend it to anybody. It's lots and lots of fun.
Air Combat is our number 5 choice for outrageous male fantasy adventure.
Can we go back again?
And here's me. Coming up, we head for the top of the world. And on our search for outrageous fantasies for men, we take a little R&R. Next on Uberguide. Our countdown of outrageous fantasies for men has taken us on a dangerous search for adventure. Now, we embark on a perilous journey to the top of the world. At number 4, we climb the Uber Mountain, Everest.
It's a big opportunity to test yourself.
Since Sir Edmund Hillary first made it to the top and made it possible to get there, adventurers have been pouring in from Nepal to challenge the mountain.
And here's me. Life's good.
Today, tour companies can take care of everything. And while they can't guarantee a summit,
it's a lot of work.
They can get you close, if you have the money.
If you want to go low budget and just have the services at base camp and you want to ferry all of your stuff up the mountain, it can be fairly cheap, like, you know, 30, 40,000. But if you want more of the services where you want more help on the mountain, more experience, more guidance, it can range anywhere from 55 to 65,000.
That's where we're headed.
Expeditions are small, usually a half-dozen clients, along with a team of experienced guides and Sherpas. It will take you at least 3 months to complete this adventure.
Going up?
And years to prepare.
That is Everest peeking its little head out right there.
But first, you need to get close. And that means a white-knuckle plane ride into one of the most dangerous airports in the world. A place called Lukla. 9,000 feet above sea level and perched on the side of a giant mountain.
Here we are, going down the streets in Lukla.
Safely on the ground, you unload your gear and start walking. It will take 2 weeks to reach base camp. This is rugged country. There are no roads here. Everything is carried up narrow trails.
It's that way.
The footpaths wind through tiny Sherpa villages, past temples, and through some of the most beautiful scenery anywhere in the world.
Hopefully I've got Everest somewhere in the back.
Base camp is pretty simple. No 5-star restaurants, no plumbing. This is the ultimate in roughing it.
But at the same time, there's a buzz, and there's a community that's going on. And it's all really geared towards what are we going to do? How are we going to get to the top?
Before climbers set out on the mountain, Buddhist monks hold a special blessing for each and every climber. They will need all the help they can get.
He's going for the gusto.
A trip out of base camp up through the ice fall is treacherous. Crossing the deep crevasses takes courage and a series of rickety ladders lashed together.
That is such a beautiful little section right there.
This is enough to turn anyone back.
I think a lot of people dropped out just because they couldn't handle the daily stress of climbing Mount Everest.
As you move higher up the mountain, it will become more and more difficult to breathe.
We're finally here.
At 26,000 feet near Camp 4, you enter the death zone.
When you do get above a certain altitude on Everest, your body does deteriorate and it never recovers because of the lack of oxygen. But we try to minimize the amount of time that we spend in this death zone.
As you make your final push to the top of Everest, you will be supplied with oxygen and a battle plan. The final push takes everything you have.
In terms of being on top of Mount Everest, it's a beautiful thing. We had a bluebird day, so we could see everything that you could possibly see. I remember distinctively taking a moment, grabbing a sat phone, and calling my wife and 3 kids at home.
A trip up Everest ropes off our number 4 spot in men's outrageous fantasy vacations.
I feel like for every moment, for all the equipment and everything, it was so worth the money.
We're trading in our climbing gear for something a little less dangerous and a little more relaxing. A fishing pole and some angling. At number 3, this is the ultimate fishing trip.
This is a great way to spend the day.
And to find it, you need to get to the remote Pacific Northwest coast, where the spaces are big and the fish are bigger.
Here's real fresh, just got them.
Welcome to the Sonora Resort.
Got a place 50 minutes north of Vancouver that is absolutely pristine.
This isn't your run-of-the-mill fishing lodge. No musty rooms here. This is a luxury lodge for fishermen with 5-star tastes.
We have some of the best fishing boats, best accommodation, fine food, nice massages. It's a great place to come and get away.
Absolutely divine, I would say.
Your over-the-top trip starts from the moment you arrive at the airport, where a private helicopter waits to whisk you off to the remote lodge. The flight over pristine waters and gorgeous mountains is breathtaking.
It's about the smoothest ride you can imagine in your life. You just sort of glide up, and the ability to sort of be at 5,000 feet and having a tremendous view versus the ability to sort of be down low, you know, so easily. Oh, it was great.
It's great for executives that don't have the time to travel a long ways to find peace and quiet in a beautiful part of the world.
So we're just gonna throw that behind our boat.
Below, it's some of the best salmon fishing in the world.
Chinook salmon is what we're targeting today.
The lodge sits perched out on the rugged Pacific coast, far from the city and the pressures of the day.
But I have a hard time imagining anything too much better than this. This is pretty great.
All around, giant cedars stand guard, and majestic bald eagles keep watch. Grizzly bears patrol nearby shores. Killer whales hunt for supper. The animals are here for the same reason you are. They're after salmon.
It's 36, 33, 30-pound fish. Exciting to catch them. You're wrestling these fish out of the water in a beautiful part of the world.
Out on the water, you fish from fully rigged, top-of-the-line Grady whites.
We got coolers up here, microwaves. We got a stove right here even.
The Cadillac of fishing boats.
Shower your head, electronic windows. We got 2 beds on board.
They have everything here, and it all works perfectly. 3 powerful 250 horsepower engines are ready to take you anywhere fast. The days are long, sunny, and relaxed, whether the fish bite or not.
If the fish aren't there, the guides still need to work those rods, work the boats, hunt for the fish, and we really pride ourselves on the quality of guides we've got here.
Lunch is a highlight. Served under the rainforest canopy, every meal here is gourmet.
We've got an amazing beach barbecue with a lobster, grilled duck.
The fish that come out of these waters are nothing short of huge.
26 pounds.
You can pack it home for a barbecue, or if you're hungry for salmon, you can ask to have it cooked up for dinner in the resort's 5-star restaurant. Or you can take a break from the salmon with a perfect filet mignon.
When you come off the water at the end of the day, we're going to give you some great food.
Fishing here is not only limited to the ocean. A short helicopter ride takes you over glaciers and mountains so remote, many are still nameless. High in the mountains, rivers run full of fish. This is perfect fly fishing territory. Every step of the way, guides offer advice.
A little bit of line out.
To help you become the complete fisherman.
Well done, friend. Thanks. There we go.
We did feel rich and famous for a day. Up here, I think they make everyone feel like that, and they do a really nice job of that.
Reeling in the #3 spot is the ultimate salmon fishing trip at British Columbia's Sonora Resort.
Bring them in gently. Okay, bye.
You can't beat it. I think anyone who's come here will want to come here again as soon as they can.
Coming up, strap in and shove the pedal to the metal for some high bank thrills.
Green.
As our countdown of outrageous fantasies for men hits the #2 spot. Next on Uberguide. Uberguide's countdown of adrenaline-pumping, outrageous fantasy adventures for men has reached the #2 spot, stock car racing. What man hasn't dreamed of getting behind the wheel of a race car and pouring it on?
White 10 coming in.
Here's the place to do it. Florida's Daytona International Speedway.
This is about as extreme gets. This will push the limits of someone who thinks they can drive fast. This is going to test your limits right here.
This is the group that can make it happen.
And you're good with the stick shift, sir? Sure. Now, the big question, do you like to drive fast?
Sure.
Excellent answer.
The Richard Petty Experience, a driving school designed to unleash the average commuter's inner stock car driver.
I wouldn't call it racing in any means, but you do get the sensation. Jerry, you are all set. And now, see, go ahead and get started.
When you show up at the Richard Petty School, you trade in your family van for something with just a little more power.
These are the real thing. You're gonna get your first taste of stock car driving today, okay? Here in a couple hours, you'll never ever look at it the same way again. I promise you that.
Before drivers are taken out on the track, they get a brief on what to expect and some theory on how to drive on a high bank racetrack.
We're gonna do 2 rounds today, all right? 8 laps each. In between each round, we'll have a quick meeting. We go through a lot of different things, from all the switches in the car, the way you're gonna drive it, how it's gonna feel. I'm gonna build y'all up, get you going fast. Is everybody ready to go? Ready. All right.
Once the classroom work is finished, it's out into a van for a tour of the track and some pointers from real racers with real experience.
In the asphalt, if we're going into the turns, gang, right? We are not going to be letting off the gas pedal. Very, very important.
Stock cars that race on today's high bank tracks will often top 200 miles per hour.
Horsepower these are pushing are about 650. All the horsepower you'll ever need. Aerodynamics pushes the car down on the ground. All right, car goes faster, slides right through the air. So everything's been modified. There's not a lot of stock about it anymore.
These drivers are about to push their genuine stock cars to 160 miles per hour. Not bad for a bunch of amateurs.
That's a pretty good clip. For someone who's never driven a race car to come out here and turn those speeds is just an extreme thrill.
This is the hardest part of the whole program, okay? Getting out of the race car. So anyway...
After a few hours of instruction, it's time to take to the track.
Big smile. We don't mind if you touch the car, put some fingerprints on it. It's not a show car. We're gonna clean it later, so get right up there and act like you own it. All right? Excited?
Yes, sir. Ready to go.
Thank you, sir.
Actually, this was a Christmas present from my wife. Just gonna have some fun, that's all. Go fast and have fun.
I'm just a washed-up race car driver that doesn't want to work on his car anymore, so I come down and rent one of these.
Slow roll. Green, green, green.
As a lead car driven by a professional driver sets the pace, new drivers must keep up. The trick here is to drive fast and to tailgate. It makes for an exhilarating ride.
Everybody needs that adrenaline rush. Everybody's interested in speed. Everybody's always had the fascination with going fast.
On today's run, the drivers get 2 chances to push the limit. Each run will take them around the track several times. Each lap is timed and recorded.
No, that was an awesome job. Keep it up for the next round. The speeds are going to increase. We'll pick up about 3 seconds. Good. Just keep working on that distance. More in the car. Oh, yeah. We're going to get more out of it for sure. Good job.
At the end of the day,
Kevin Abramson.
the newly minted racers get a printout of their final report card, showing how they did at driving school.
152. My wife gave me this as a 40th birthday present. So greatest present I ever got.
It was awesome. That was the best experience of my life, man. That was cool. It's awesome. There's nothing like it. There's absolutely nothing like it. This Richard Petty experience is definitely well worth the money.
Many have waited their whole lives for this experience.
Almost everybody to a person that gets out said this is one of the best things they've ever done. Some people say, I've wanted to do this all my life. This is a dream come true.
Coming up next, get ready for our #1 adventure as Uberguide's countdown of outrageous fantasies for men reaches its exciting conclusion. Get ready for #1. Our final outrageous fantasy trip is hands down out of this world. Space travel. Who hasn't dreamed of being an astronaut?
So it was just 3 years ago I got this idea.
Now you can buy your way into space. Space Adventures is an American-based company that brokers space flights through the Russian space program. Wealthy adventurers pony up big bucks and put their lives on the line to learn how to be a cosmonaut.
$60 million to build and fly a Soyuz rocket. It has 3 seats, so if you divide that by 3, that's something on the order of 20 million.
The New York businessman decided to trade the office tower job for the ultimate vacation. One that would take him high above the planet into space.
And I thought, hey, this is something I could do.
The goal? To be trained and ready for a 10-day stay on the International Space Station.
It was a dream. I never thought I'd fly in space.
Давайте посмотрим, что говорит бортовая документация.
Now, 10 days might not sound like much, but it takes a move to Russia and 6 months of rigorous training to get prepared.
I lived in a simple dormitory outside of Moscow.
One of the most important things Olsen would have to learn, how to deal with weightlessness.
Magic is the shortest word I can think of. When the rocket actually took off, when I felt it shaking and lifting, I said, yes, the next 10 days belong to me.
Approach to the docking port of the Zarya control module. Contact, captured, docking confirmed.
The Soyuz capsule docks with the Russian portion of the International Space Station.
Just open the hatch.
Gregory Olsen was in space, weightless, high above the planet.
I just saw this big blue sphere receding, and it was like, wow, you know, I'm really doing this.
I think this best captures weightlessness most. Typical everyday breakfast. ISS exercise.
Okay, I'm recording, watching you open your Slim Jim.
But Olsen wasn't just along for the ride. There were important experiments and lots of hard work.
Greg is pumping condensate from the descent module.
10 days after he left Earth, it was time to pack up and head home.
This is somewhere over Europe.
And when you see the sun at the edge of the Earth, you just see this thin blue band around the Earth, and you realize how thin the atmosphere is, and there's not much there, so we'd better take care of it.
There's another interesting view of the world.
The mission was flawless.
Our last supper.
10 days after Soyuz left Earth,
This is the Soyuz that we will come down in.
Olson and 2 crewmates made a fiery re-entry.
Landing was the rougher part. The descent, I should say.
For reaching for the stars, Space Adventures takes the #1 spot on our countdown. 10 ultimate adventures, each amazing in its own way. These experiences don't come cheap, and they don't come easy.
Best experience of my life.
But as long as there are challenges, there will be risk takers, ready to put it all on the line for the thrill of saying they did it and live to tell. These are Uberguide's outrageous fantasies for men.
Uberguide.